Today, we're going to compare a few of the best sounding V8 cars in Assetto Corsa. This might be the greatest sounding collection of cars you'll hear, other than 20 V10 Formula 1 cars of course. A few things to note before we get started: the volume is not accurate, different mods have different volumes, etc, so it's impossible to get that right. This is only for Assetto Corsa, not real life. Some of these cars will sound much better in real life, and leading on from that, a lot of these cars are more accurate than others. Some don't sound anything like real life, some sound almost exactly the same. So we'll go into that as we get to each car. And also, this is just for fun, just my opinion, no seriousness intended here, so please don't get annoyed if you don't agree with me. First up is the AC Shelby Cobra, and in real life this is an awesomely good sounding car. I actually saw one the other day, it went past me, full throttle, and oh my god, it sounds so good. I don't think the mod sounds quite as good as real life. I'll shut up for a minute so you can listen to it. Still sounds pretty good though, you gotta say. Maybe it's a little bit more aggressive in real life. But yeah, it's not bad. I don't think it's the greatest on this list. We're definitely gonna have better. But it's not a bad experience. It's not a bad mod. Sounds nice off board as well. That really low grumbly noise. But let's see what car we've got next. This is the Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat, and it's a tuned version as well. And this car, the actual volume is monumentally loud on Assetto Corsa, way louder than any of the race cars, so it's way off, obviously. But it does have that amazing supercharger whine. I think that's the best thing about this car. It's obviously very muted, the sound, because of the, you know, the road car aspects of it. But the best thing about this car is definitely the supercharger. So yeah, great sounding for a road car, especially a modern road car, but nowhere near as good as some of the race cars. But you can hear here just how loud it is. So yeah, let's move on. Next up is one of the more accurate cars on this list, and it's the V8 Supercar. I think this is the Holden V8 Supercar, and this sounds awesome. Have a listen. You can just about hear it over the SRT, but yeah, it sounds just like real life. I watched a V8 Supercar racer this morning. Sounds almost perfect. You've got that V8 noise, but it's a really specific type of V8 noise that you get with these V8 supercars, and it sounds really good. And this mod is fantastic. I'd really recommend getting it because the cars feel awesome. And yeah, the sound, as you can hear, is really accurate. They sound great. Maybe not aggressive as the American ones, but still really good. This is definitely a contender for the winner. It's the Shadow V8 or the Saleen S7 from the guys at Race Sim Studio. One of the best off-board sounding cars in the whole of Assetto Corsa, I would say. Listen to this. Sounds amazing. When you'll see in a minute the flybys of this car as it goes past, you get that really rumbly V8 noise. It's super accurate to the real car. They did a sound update on this car just to make it sound realistic, and their whole pack of these GT cars is unbelievable. This is almost a 10 out of 10 for me. I think it sounds absolutely brilliant. What great work they've done. I could listen to this car all day long. Just a great job. I'd recommend getting this. You can play it all day, but let's move on. Next is the AMG GT3 car, modern GT3 car. And when you hear these in real life, they've got that really low, rumbly V8 noise, as you can hear here. Doesn't sound quite as good in game. Probably one of the worst sounding cars on this list, to be honest. So definitely not getting a 10 out of 10 from me. Yeah, not awe-inspiring. I'd definitely much rather drive one of the other cars. Yeah, not great. So let's move on to the next one. Now we're moving back up to awesomeness, and it's the Sauber Mercedes C9, the Group C car. Have a listen to this. This is a base game car from Assetto Corsa, and it's one of the best on the list. That V8 noise just sounds so good. Yeah, I mean, what more can I say? It sounds amazing, and in real life, again, this car sounds awesome. This is, again, one of the more realistic sounding cars, and yeah, just sounds awesome, especially with the Saleen as well. You can hear it here with the Saleen. Listen to this. Audio orgasm, that is all I can say. So good. I love it, I love it. This is one of the best parts of racing for me on sim racing, but let's move on to the next one. So this is the C6 Corvette race car, Le Mans winning car, I believe. I did include it because in real life you hear it on TV and it sounds so good. Really low rumbly sound again. Not so great on the mod. Yes, it does sound good, but really not as good as real life, I don't think. Still sounds great, don't get me wrong. I just think some of the other cars on this list sound a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. But yeah, if you're driving this, you really want to turn the bass up, and you'll get that really nice, low, rumbly vibration through your body, which comes with V8 cars. But yeah, not awe-inspiring, not as good as some of the other ones. So let's move on to the next one. Now we're moving back into the realistic sounding cars. Take a listen. This is the V8 Nascar, of course, the Hyperion from the guys at Race Sim Studio again. It sounds brilliant. Super realistic, sounds almost exactly like a real NASCAR. Over 9,000 RPM, screaming into the corners, sounds awesome. I love driving this car, especially the onboard sounds. I drive this car just because of the sound. That's how good the sound is on this car. If we go off board, still sounds great, but it almost sounds a little bit like NR 2003, you know? Sounds okay, but the onboard sound is unmatched. Absolutely brilliant, the onboard sound. The offboard sound, I definitely think there could be more work done on the offboard sound. But the onboard sound is just brilliant. When you're driving this car and you've got the onboard sound, it's so immersive. It's so immersive because it sounds so realistic. It sounds like what you see on the TV. So yeah, this is one of my favourites, definitely up there on the top of the list, but let's move on to an even better one. And that even better one is this. It's the Dallas VFR, I think it is. It's the Cadillac Le Mans LMD-H car, and oh my god, this might just be one of the best sounding cars in the whole game. Sounds like the NASCAR, but even better. Doesn't rev as high as the NASCAR. Just sounds awesome. Like, again, driving this car, it just feels so good when you've got that engine noise behind you. And I've seen this car in real life. I did a review of this car on my channel and I compared the real life sound to this sound from this mod. Gear changes as well, it just sounds so good. This is probably my favourite on the list, I'd say. Probably my favourite on the list. There's one more car to come, which you'll see in a minute, which might take the bacon. Which is maybe that one there in front of you. It might be a bit of a cheap car, but I'll get onto that in a minute. Yeah, I'm so glad they've got the V8. WEC this year is going to be so good with the Aston Martin, with this, with your Ferraris and your Porsches, the noises it's going to make. It's just going to be amazing. I wish they were coming to Portugal this year, but they're not. Yeah, this is one of my favourite cars in the whole of Assetto Corsa. And now let's move on to our final cheat car. Now I say cheat car because this is not a V8. It's actually a V16. Now this car's featured heavily on this channel. We've done hill climb in it, we've done other things with it. But if you're new around here, this is the Type 15 BRM Formula 1 car from the 50s. And it has a V16 engine that revs to over 12,000 RPM. I've included it in this video because, of course, it sounds like a V8. I suppose it's a V16, but it sounds very similar to a V8. But it just revs so much higher, and you know when you hear that Nascar goes over 9,000, it's screaming and it sounds so good. And then you get an extra 3,000 or 4,000 RPM with this. Oh, just unbelievable. So good. And this was incredibly unreliable. But you can hear how loud it is. If you watched the Goodwood revival from last year, it was racing there and it was just blew everything else away. It's so loud. And Top Gear also did a YouTube video on it where they put this in a tunnel with the Stig. They didn't rev it all the way out because it'd probably blow up. But with Assetto Corsa, there's no need to worry about that. This thing will go forever, and wow. I just wish in Sim it was a little bit louder. It's very quiet in Sim compared to the other cars. So I just wish there was a way to turn up the volume. If you know how to turn up the volume, please do let me know in the game files. Because I just want to turn this up to 11. Oh, I just love it. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, that's my last cars. This is probably my favourite, along with the Cadillac. But let me know what your favourite is. Is there an even better mod out there with an even better V8 sound? Do let me know. Please do leave a like on the video and subscribe. And I'll leave you with this BRM V16 engine. And I'll see you in the next one.